Hi there, Wonderful Wizard of HR here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, please give me a like. And if you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy! Reference checking really should be an easy thing, right? If you're a reference for somebody, you get a phone call, you talk about the individual's behaviors, their characteristics, you hang up the phone and you're done. Somebody now either has a new job or they don't. Sounds simple, right? Well, for some reason, somewhere along the line, being a reference became a very difficult thing. There are individuals who straight up refuse to give a reference. They don't want to have anything to do with it. There are others who feel that it's illegal, that they may be charged if they give a bad reference. And there are company policies out there that won't allow people to be references for others. I'm going to share a quick story with you about my personal experience when I asked for a reference from my employer when I was a junior HR professional. I was moving from a small town to a big city and I needed a reference to find a new job. And I'd only had one employer at the time as an HR professional. So I contacted my previous supervisor, who was the head of HR for that company, and I asked if he would be a reference. He said it was against company policy to be a reference, but that he would be happy to give me a letter of recommendation. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. I would love a letter of recommendation. And it was a glowing letter. It was great. So I started job searching, and everybody that I got an interview with that asked for references would not take the recommendation letter. And I was completely blindsided by this. I had no idea that this was going to happen to me. I thought, why don't they want this glowing letter of recommendation? I learned a lot later that letters can be fabricated. Letters can come from anyone. When you speak to someone on the phone, there are all these amazing tips and tricks you can use to dig a little deeper into what the reference is, the information that the reference is giving you. It's actually quite an art to check references. But I didn't learn that till later in life, and I'm hoping that you'll all learn this a lot sooner than I did. Speaking of the things that I learned, I want to share 5 things with you that I've learned over my 20 plus years as an HR professional. The first one is that being a reference for someone or a referee is not illegal. A lot of people think that if you give a reference, it is illegal. Some people think if you give a bad reference, it's illegal. This is not the case. The only time that you can be held liable for giving a reference, good or bad, is if you don't tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, then there can be issues, because now what you've done is you've fabricated information to prevent somebody from becoming gainfully employed. And that is where the issue lies. There are tips and tricks on how to properly check references to get more information out of the referee that you are talking to. And if you're a referee, you want to give as much information as you can to help that individual get a job, or to help the employer who is requesting information about a certain individual not hire a bad egg. The second thing that I learned over the years, and that you need to know, is that even though it's not illegal to give a reference, bad or good, it is illegal to discriminate. The Human Rights Act is something you should be very familiar with when you're asking questions as a reference checker. In contrast to that, if you're a referee, you do not have to answer any questions that may discriminate against you or the person that they are asking questions about. In the description below, I have provided the protected areas and grounds for every province and every territory links. to the human rights acts or the human rights commissions of every province or territory in Canada. So you have a quick link to click on down below. The third thing that I learned over time is that reference checks are not a waste of time. I've heard that over and over again. Reference checks are a waste of time. I'm not going to do it. I talk to so many clients who say, why are you doing reference checks? They're not a waste of time. And I'm going to give you one example of many that I've experienced over the years. I had this client that I would do recruiting for. In the beginning, I would do all the job posting, I would screen all the resumes, and I would do the preliminary phone call screening. Then we would meet together to interview the shortlisted candidates. This one candidate was passing with flying colors. Their pre-screen turned out great. Their interview was amazing. All we needed to do was check references, and my client was already drafting the offer letter while I was checking references. Well, because of the techniques that I have in reference checking, I was able to determine that this individual was not somebody to hire. They had behavioral issues, their qualifications were fabricated. It was an actual mess. And if we hadn't contacted those references, we never would have got that information. It saved my clients so much time and money by not hiring that individual and finding out 2 months, 1 year down the road that this individual is not a right fit. So remember that reference checks are not a waste of time. The fourth thing that I learned, and you may already know, is that it's very important to make sure that the references that you're getting are people who can attest to the qualifications and behavior of the individual as an employee. So previous workers, previous supervisors, previous peers, and sometimes even previous employees. So when you get the list of references, make sure you ask what their role was and how it related to the candidate's role. The last thing that you should know, the fifth thing that I learned pretty quickly actually in my career, is that the information that you collect as a reference checker is protected and held in a locked cabinet and held only for a reasonable period of time. If you're not quite sure the period of time that you can keep something, check your local province or territory's Privacy Act to find out what information you can collect, what you can use, and what you can disclose, and how long you can retain the information for. Throughout this video, you may have noticed that I mentioned that there are different techniques, tips, tricks on how to conduct a reference check. If you're an employer or a HR professional and you're watching this video and you want to learn more about how to do a reference check, my company, Key HR Services, sells recruitment packages. And in that recruitment package, you get a recruitment strategy, pre-screen questions with a guide, interview questions with a guide, and reference checks with a guide on how to reference check. If you're interested in that, I've put a link below to my website and also to my company email, info@keyhr.ca. And you could just shoot me an email or go to my website to learn more about that. I'm so glad that I was able to put this video together for you. This topic, for some reason, has gone on for longer than I have been an HR professional. And I've been an HR professional for over 20 years. So it just really hasn't been rectified, and it just continues to have a mind of its own. So hopefully this clears things up for you. Please share this video with people who you think might benefit from this information. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember that there are important links in the description below, including links to Wonderful Wizard of HR social media. Enjoy the rest of your day. And once again, if you liked the video, please give me a like. And if you want to see more like this, hit the subscribe button. Thanks. Hi. I have a dog who's coming to see me, wants to know what's going on. You want to say hi, Max? Really difficult to do a video when you have dogs and kids and you work from home. Isn't that right? Hey, Maxie? Can you go somewhere else so that I can finish my video, please? Thank you. No, go on, Max. Go on. Go lay down. Go lay down. Well, he's probably going to lie right beside me because he's usually attached at my hip.